clip that.
Oh, thank you, everyone, and good morning to everybody LOA. My speech coach, Captain Zach Bauman, said, hey, if you want to grab their attention, let's throw some Call of Duty clips in there. So playing with John David Duvall a few weeks ago, we happened to get that clip, and I immediately sent that to everybody, and I said, let's edit that. But to everybody else, I just want to take a quick unscientific survey real quick. Let's just see a show of hands if you have played Call of Duty or Candy Crush before. Just a quick show of hands. I like to get a wide range, right, because not everybody plays Call of Duty, and thank you for that. And the reason I asked this question is to see just how diverse a group of gamers can be, right? When like Captain Parsons said, I started the Call of Duty program, or at least the category, and bringing the community up, and I was seeing there were people from all over the Air Force, right, playing gamers, and I didn't know who they were, didn't know their rank, didn't know their AFSC. All I knew is we wanted to play games. But then that changed. So my question to you now, I want to change the parameter of that question. Not, do you know what Call of Duty is, or do you know what Candy Crush is? But what can games do to help you in real life? Right? And as we think about that, we think that games have developed from just a hobby and a pastime to the topic in the forefront of a lot of the questions we have. Gaming is seen in training and education as the future. We're looking at making simulations a priority. We've seen in cyber and gaming have a lot of parallels, and they're both on the uphill. We've had conversations about gamifying a lot of our training and using that in models and simulation, right? But I want to focus on this. I want to focus on the development of gaming, because not only are we developing games and watching the advancement in technology in games, we're starting to see how gaming has defined the way we are training our airmen. Gaming is allowing our leaders to tap in to these airmen's comfort zones and connect with them on a deeper level, allowing us to understand them, how they operate, how they think, and that allows us to go in and better prepare them to lead tomorrow. And so to get a better understanding of how we develop our airmen and how gaming has developed, I want to rewind the clock a little bit, back to my middle school days when I was about 10 years old. So when I was in middle school and 10 years old, my dad landed a job that allowed him to work from home. It was a new concept back then. I know it doesn't seem crazy now because of COVID, but it was. So that meant in the summer times, when my brother and I were also home from school, the house was pretty packed. So you can imagine the noise my brother and I made while my dad's in the other room trying to have his morning meetings. As a former tanker, I should probably do that. There we go. As a former tanker in the Army, my father was taught things like discipline, organization, teamwork, and an abundance of skills that he still uses to this day. He wanted to pass these skills on to my brother and I, but he couldn't just burst in the room and start screaming at us to be quiet in his meeting like his drill instructors used to. But knowing we were both competitive and liked the sense of accomplishment, Dad liked to issue what he liked to call missions. Right? He didn't call them chores for my brother and I. No. He said, I'm going to give you missions. Right? We would wake up and he'd say, hey, your mission for the day, as long as you guys make your bed, fold your laundry, and then go out for at least an hour in PT, then you could take your R&R. Sweet, I like missions. I like being competitive. My brother's R&R consisted of him going back to build Legos. I don't like building Legos. This is something I was never interested in. So much so that one time, I remember I brought home a C on a math test. At that minute, my parents went out and bought a Lego version of the Krusty Krab and said, go ahead and build that at the dinner table. That's your mission right now. Okay. So you could say my R&R was vastly different from my brother's. Instead of building Legos for hours on end, I enjoyed retaking the galaxy in Star Wars Battlefront 2. If any of you remember, that was published in 2005. So I would finish my missions as fast as I could and get online and play with my friends. My mom would always come by my room and ask how my quest to retake the Empire was going, because she said it sounded like we were fighting for our lives. And sometimes it really did feel like that. It really did. But my parents were shocked at the way I played video games. Their son, 10 years old at the time, howling commands and screaming at his team, but he understood patterns in this game, like how long it took to get from objective A to objective B, or how long it took to defuse a bomb or plant it, or what strategies to take. It really surprised him that I was able to command that, but I couldn't build a Lego version of the Krusty Krab, right? And after hearing me howl these commands and control the team, my parents thought I always might follow in my father's footsteps and join the military one day. And well, I did. While still in high school, I decided I would join the Air Force. And in June 2016, I shipped off to BMT. What I thought would be a seamless transition from civilian life to the life of an airman, I figured that would be seamless because I had previously completed hundreds of missions issued by my father. That was not the case. BMT turned out to be one of the best transitional periods of my life. My MTIs, Master Sergeant Terrazas and Master Sergeant Cadavid, took this airman, kid, 18 straight out of high school, and transformed him into a professional airman. They installed our core values and set me up for success in my career, just like the Army had done for my father. Now, I originally joined to be a SrA because I had heard about their unique mission in the woods, and honestly, I wanted to eat snakes and stuff. But I had originally heard about their unique mission and their tight-knit community. Unfortunately, I didn't finish the course, and I was put in for a retrain. My cadre found out what my job was. He came immediately to notify me. Hey, Pierce, you're going to be a 5th-generation F-22 tactical aircraft maintainer, shredded out for Raptors. At the time, I looked at him and I said, what? I didn't know what an F-22 Raptor was, nor did I know what 5th generation meant. But when I heard the word maintainer, the only thing I could think of was that Lego version of the Krusty Krab that I was going to have to build because I heard maintenance. And I asked him, I turned to my cadre and I said, sir, is this like building Legos at all? And he just goes, that is exactly what it's like. I was actually terrified, right? I was nervous. I didn't know what any of this was. I didn't know what was going to be expected of me in this unchosen career field, what to expect about this career field, or how I was going to perform against my peers. Thinking about the challenges that lay ahead, I went in head first, ready to learn. Upon arriving at my first base, Elmendorf Air Force Base in Alaska, I realized there were so many opportunities to learn. There were so many avenues in which I could develop as an airman who had no clue about maintenance. My supervisor quickly realized I didn't know anything about maintenance, but used that as an opportunity to teach me and bring me under his wing. He consistently helped me with on-the-job training and recurring tasks, while my career development courses kept me knowledgeable. So as I started to find that I could do this, and as a maintainer, I thought, you know what, this is a possibility. I can really excel. I started to see that I was developing. I started to actually fall in love with the job. I really started to appreciate what aircraft maintenance had. And so I was giving this my all, falling in love with this job, with an F-22. My leaders at the time took notice, and as an A1C, they gave me my own jet right there you see in the picture. That's a spot normally reserved for a staff sergeant. So now you have this kid who couldn't build a simple Lego set and see simple directions in command of his own jet, the most lethal jet in the world. And as I started to work on this jet and get comfortable with my own jet and have my own crew, I got orders. Oh, there's a picture of me in Alaska, sorry. But I got orders here to Edwards Air Force Base, Southern California. I had heard about Edwards before, only from a few people because it's a smaller community, but I had heard stories. Edwards Air Force Base, the heart of testing for the F-22. I was told I would see special projects in hangars. I would see some abnormal things in the testing world that I wouldn't get in the operational world. Somebody even said I might see some UFOs. I am still on the hunt for those UFOs. And so I was pumped. I was ready to take that skill set that my supervisor in Alaska had given me and bring that to the testing world of Edwards, help accelerate change and bring the future of the F-22 to the world and prepare for the future of the Air Force in general. I was ready. But as often happens in life, when I got there, everything seemed to just fall off. Why is that? Well, Edwards is a civilian-centric base. So what that means is most positions in my unit have a civilian counterpart. So the time that these leaders used to spend making sure their airmen were developing were now spent with their civilian counterpart talking about what direction we should go. This meant that leaders were now busy doing their leadership things, right, deliberating. And what were us senior airmen doing? Right, we were just being told we're going this way. Okay, we go that way. Hey, never mind, we're going the other way. Sounds good, we'll go that way. So I started to see a halt in development. Right? Me as an airman who grew in Alaska and got all of this information, who wanted to bring this to Edwards, was suddenly slowed down, was stopped. I started to go home with my head down. I started to leave work feeling as if I hadn't contributed as much as I could. I couldn't give my experience to the world of Raptor. I felt stuck. And no one likes going home feeling stuck. I don't think anybody here wants to go home on a bad day. So I had to find a way to regain momentum. A way I regained momentum is I got to leave Senior Airman Pierce, the maintainer, at work. When I got home, I would take my uniform off and throw that headset on. For the rest of the night, I would be known as Speed, an online persona and nickname I've had since I was 10. And my passion lies with video games. If those 3 monitors don't say it, my passion lies there. I love the fast-paced action of games like Call of Duty or Halo. I'm able to command my team and control almost any aspect of the game. Major General King can tell you. But I enjoy that. I can see our practices, the result of our practice, the unfortunate results of our losses, and help lead a team to victory. I can contribute things. Now, in the middle of a tournament in 2019, it was Modern Warfare, that was the game, I was scrolling through Facebook waiting for our next match, and I stumbled upon this page, Air Force Gaming. And like many of you here today, you walked by our booth, I had the same look you did when you first saw it. You said, huh? We have that? I took one look and was fascinated. Air Force Gaming, or AFG for short, was an online community created for active duty members to come together with one thing in common, a passion for gaming. Oh yeah, I love gaming. Absolutely. Up here right now you see our all-time stats, but it did not used to look like that. When I first joined Air Force Gaming, it was only a few hundred members in the Discord. I was a fan of Call of Duty and found like-minded people. And I thought for a second, we might have something here. There's really no esports involvement, but we can try. And founder of Air Force Gaming, Captain Oliver Parsons, and co-founders Air Force Gaming and founder of Space Force Gaming, Master Sergeant Mike Sullivan, saw that I loved chasing this opportunity, and they helped me achieve that goal. So now we'll go into Air Force Gaming, and as we started to develop, we realized that we had a sandbox. You can see in maintenance, and as a Raptor maintainer, we are very limited to what we can do. And that's for good reason. We have processes in place to ensure that we don't screw up. But in Air Force Gaming, we don't. There is no process to find the best active duty Call of Duty players. There is no process to help build your online community and bring like-minded people together. I was the one creating that process. We were figuring out how to bring people together and how to create these tryouts or tournaments, and we had an experimentation like sandbox. And within this sandbox, we were able to experiment, which meant we could fail forward and be okay. One of these experiments was what you see up here right now. It was a 412 test wing all call. And where Senior Airman Pierce, the maintainer, was limited with what he could do, Speed was not. So our wing chief sent out an email and said, hey, I know it's been a while, we haven't had an all call because of COVID. And as Senior Airman Pierce, I thought, wow, I can't do anything about that. But as Speed, I said, reply. So I replied to our wing chief, a very bold move on my part. And I said, hey, sir, I would love to meet. I think we can solve this. He said, stop by my office. Okay. And we came up with the idea to host a virtual all call. Now, I know what you're thinking. Yeah, Speed, we're in COVID. That's not really insane. But this was no normal virtual all call. We wanted to tap into the younger enlisted and really see where they were at kind of mentally and how they were doing, because obviously during the peak of COVID, they were isolated to their dorms. So we decided at this point to do it in Call of Duty. Airmen could then join via their username as they would add us as friends and hop in. With this, they could then ask the chief questions and answer them. And then even after the stream, Chief decided he would stay behind to just chat with airmen. So he was tapping into these young airmen, and they were understanding him at a deeper level. This was something the Air Force had never seen before. And as we fast forward, the program begins to build, and I began to grow with it. Right, what started as a community manager, I was running the Call of Duty team at the time. And then Air Force Gaming actually became the official hub for gaming and esports in the Department of the Air Force. And with that becomes a lot of responsibility, and Captain Parsons and Sergeant Sullivan knew they would need some help. And I was the first one, right there, boom. Hey, you need new missions, I'm here for it. My dad used to give them to me all the time. I'm here. And so I went from leading a Call of Duty team, simple team of 5, 6 people, and the Call of Duty program, to leading all shooters, which means Rainbow Six, Overwatch, any of the shooter games you guys can think of, I was leading it. I was in charge of hosting tournaments, just increasing outreach, finding other people that could come in, and we could bring them all together. And then eventually, I led to advising the Air Force Services Center directly on all esport opportunities. One of these was the Code Bowl Championship. Our Space Force team got to go to the academy, and I went as their manager, helped set everything up. And it was just insane to see to me, as from a personal standpoint, a Raptor maintainer is working with airmen from all different career fields and all different ranks and playing in a cross-branch battle. Again, something the Air Force really has never seen before. Although our Air Force team did lose, our Space Force team did take the championship, and that was awesome. So I'll be in a Space Force jersey after this. No. See, sorry. But Air Force gaming transcends that traditional chain of engagement, right? Where senior airman Pierce normally doesn't talk to anybody above a tech sergeant or a staff sergeant on any given day, because that's just how the maintenance world works, or so I'm told. If a problem occurs at work, I am told, hey, get rid of your supervisor. And if my supervisor can't figure it out, he gets with a tech sergeant. And usually it's solved there, but I don't see that, right? I usually talk to my staff sergeant or my technical sergeant, and that's it. But in Air Force gaming, speed is not limited. Air Force gaming has allowed me to transcend that traditional chain of engagement and push what I like to call my digital development boundaries. I'm not limited by the frozen middle, and I'm not afraid to talk to anybody of any rank because it's a passion-based goal. I'm knowledgeable in this, and all I want to do is find other people that are knowledgeable as well, and we can learn together. Some of these pictures here you see, one of the peak of that I noticed was at ITSEC in December of 2019, the Inter-Service Industry Training Simulation Education Conference. Woo! But during that time, I got to speak to DoD leaders and DAF leaders like I am right now. And on a more intimate level, every time I talked to them, they would say, hey, what's Air Force gaming, with that cockeyed, kind of confused look. And I would say, oh yeah, Air Force gaming, blah, 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 blah. And as I spoke, I just watched their eyes and then their mouth. We have that. Well, yes, in fact, we do. And the next question that came from them was, how can we help? How can we make this happen? Because it seems we're gathering all of these airmen, we have this platform. But how did you do it? How can we further sustain Air Force gaming? And at this peak, I got to meet people like Robert Swallow there and John David Duvall. As you see, that was our first time meeting, actually. It was fantastic. But as we saw success, we also saw some failures, and we had to experience those. One of these failures was in our grassroots. We were running a gaming tournament for Shepherd Airmen in Training during COVID. Unfortunately, the communication between the local FSS, myself, and our POC on site was not good, and the overall experience for the airmen was bumpy. Some gamers didn't get notifications, some gamers didn't get to play, and the overall experience was just not ideal. There was a lot we could have, really should have done for the airmen to make that experience better. And that was kind of a hard pill to swallow for me. I really hadn't experienced failure like that where it's on that big of a level. But I thought about that challenge and those kind of hardships. I remember Chief Bass actually stopped by at Edwards one day, and we had a meeting, and I asked her a question about challenges in the digital future, and she looked at me and she said, Airman Pierce, you need to take every challenge and turn that into an opportunity, and use that as an opportunity to learn. And so we did. And as we began to develop, we began to ask these leaders how we could be better. I welcome those challenges. I welcome those failures. Like I mentioned earlier in that sandbox, that we can fail forward and be okay. That's what I did. So we started to push the boundaries for what we could do. When I created my LinkedIn, I started to DM people of the highest rank. Hey, do you like Call of Duty? Let's play. And through that, we were able to have conversation. What would start as a conversation about Call of Duty would end with questions like, Aaron Pierce, what do you want to do with your career? Do you know how to get there? Who do I need to talk to help you get there? And I started to realize this could be amplified. This could be brought to light. We could have a massive amount of this. And see, Air Force gaming at the surface, we gather for fun. right? We might primarily gather through the community to play games. But the byproduct of Air Force gaming is amazing. We are seeing airmen earlier than ever go to their commanders and say, hey, I want to set this up for you. I want to bring airmen together. It's going to cost you $0 and we can make it happen in a week. I've never seen that before. We have seen airmen digitally develop and push boundaries that we've never seen before. And so I challenge you to go out there, and when you go home, take off your uniform and put on a headset. Go meet your airmen where they are because they're playing Call of Duty. Meet them in their comfort zone, even if that means being a little uncomfortable for you or having a bad kill-death ratio. Because it might just start as a conversation about Call of Duty, but it will end with you potentially preparing your successor to lead tomorrow. Thank you.